Good evening. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Jackie Cody. Cody Cares for Kids, Inc. has been successfully working with teens and young adults for over a quarter of a century. We provide life advisement, are to know thyself, and which is the highest commandment written on the pyramids of Giza. Once an individual knows their gifts, talents, and strengths and shares them with the world, earning income, this is heaven on earth. One would be less likely to commit negative acts that would harm others or themselves. This is why I'm so delighted and excited to bring before you a trailblazer of the core of October Youth Empowerment Month and a lead young person that helped us with organizing events. New York City Council passed the law making all of October Youth Empowerment Month. So without further delay, I would like to bring forward both the CEO and founder of Harlem Network News, Terri Wisdom, who will interview Lynette Townsley, the lead organizer for October Youth Empowerment Month, the chair of Youth Committee for Community Board 12, and out in Queens, an active member of the NAACP, among so many other titles. Ladies, I yield to you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This is an honor. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And we have been doing a series, Dr. Jackie Cody and I, on basically powerhouses. And we started with some of our powerhouse leaders, um, Adrian Cousins, the state Senate. We also, had Letitia James. We had every powerhouse that you could think of. That's really how we started, and we have continued on with this powerhouse speaks. And now we are speaking with our youth. So we think it's really important that we hear youth voices. So I'm going to first start with you, Miss Lynette, and if you could just share a bit about what your involvement has been with youth and leadership, and why this is so important, particularly at such a time as this.
Thank you. Good evening, Harlem Network News family. Tonight, you are not just meeting guests, you are meeting architects of legacy. I am Miss Lynette Townsley, Queens Community Board 12 Youth Committee Chair, a relentless advocate for justice, equity, and youth empowerment. And with me is our youth ambassador, living proof that the future is not waiting, it is already here. And together, we are not talking about change, we are embodying it. As chair of the Community Youth Care Community Queens Community Board 12 Youth Committee, my mission is simple: fuse advocacy, accountability, and empowerment into real outcomes for our youth. Every young person should be paired with a life advisor, someone who doesn't just mentor, but mobilizes resources, open doors, and dismantles barriers. We deliver wraparound services, nutrition labs, teaching food and medicine, entrepreneurship workshops, turning ideas into income, and trauma informed counseling, healing generational wounds, and peer mentorship pipelines, ensuring no youth ever walks alone. We don't just serve youth, we crown them as civic architects of their own destiny.
Okay. Well, that sounds amazing, and that sounds like something that needs to be citywide. Have you been meeting with any? I know that you're based in Queens, and it looks like your community board is on top of it. But are you meeting with other members of community boards and youth committees? Because I know that you worked on the our October Youth Month. So if you would just share a little bit.
So, Youth Empowerment Month was not just a celebration, it became law. Resolution number 193, championed by Councilmember Dr. Natasha Williams, declared October as Youth Empowerment Forever. It honors both the challenges, rising depression, social media pressures, systematic inequalities, and the triumphs of young people excelling in school and giving back in their communities. And we partnered with community-based organizations, the NAACP, the National Action Network, the National Urban League. We partnered with Citywide Leadership Council, where you'll speak with Ms. Lorraine Bridges today. And we also had a lot of our events at Eagle Academy, our local school in Queens.
Okay.
So we're looking to even strengthen our partnerships. We had over 35 partnerships with our organizations, and just like our youth ambassador, Miss Niada Omar, who's an entrepreneur, we're partnering not only with adult organizations but youth organizations as well.
Okay, so that's a perfect segue. I'm Terri Wisdom. This is Harlem Network News, and we're going to go straight to one of our youth, and that is Miss Niata Omar. Okay, welcome, Niata. Thank you so much for joining us. And would you just share a little bit about what it is for you to be a youth ambassador and how long you've been a youth ambassador? And then we want to hear more about your business because I think that's amazing. Thank you.
So the reason I became a youth ambassador because I wanted to like help and learn, and like when I'm older, how to like be a better person and learn more how to budget and be a good ambassador when I grow up and have know how to have my own business.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. I think it's amazing, and that you're showing such courage. And I understand that you have a business. It's not easy to come on a show and talk about everything. And I know that you're 9, so you're getting a good head start. Would you tell everybody what your business is, please?
My business is called Niati Lemonade, and I started 3 years. I was on this business for 3 years.
Okay. Okay. So that's great. And it's a lemonade business, and I understand that you also share, or you and your sister collaborate. She's doing the cupcakes and you're doing the lemonade. So you all pretty much have it covered. So that's a great, great thing. In terms of young people, some of your friends and people that go to school with you, what are some of the good things that you and your classmates and your friends are doing to make the world a better place?
So we have this thing, I don't really remember what it's called, but we go to beaches and pick up garbage and stuff.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay. And how is school? What are some of the best things that are happening in school? And like what things are happening in your school that are good things for all of your friends and or your classmates? And how is everybody doing with their learning?
So I think the school is good, but some activities they have after school. It has like clubs, and every single day we have a special, and there's specials like gym, art, civics, dance.
Okay. Okay. So do you participate in some of the specials?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite special?
My favorite is civics, art, and gym.
Okay. I love it. The civics part I love. Okay. So just tell us one or two things that you're learning in civics, whatever it is that you want to speak about that you learn in civics that you think is really good.
So in civics we learn like about like the country we live in and what our ancestors did for us. Like we do a bunch of activities. Sometimes we like last year in my third grade we did like we colored and stuff. I remember we colored an American flag and learned about like why and how like how our ancestors were able to like do these things, and like a few weeks ago we talked about the American flag and why it has 13 stripes and 50 stars.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. I want to let you know that you're ahead of a lot of people, just in terms of civics. So that's great. We salute you. So we're going to come back to you, Nianti, and we're not going to keep you too late because you've got to get up and get to school in the morning for sure. So we're not going to keep you too late. Okay, so I'm Terri Wisdom. This is Harlem Network News. And this is our youth powerhouse. And we have with us Miss Lorraine Gittens Bridges. And she is from the CLT, which is a citywide leadership team. So if you could just tell us, Miss Lorraine Gittens Bridges, a little bit about what CLT is and the kinds of things you do and why it is so, so important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Terri, for the opportunity to speak with the Harlem Network News family. My name is Lorraine Gittens Bridges. I am a very proud graduate of the New York City public school system. And the reason why I am so passionate about the citywide leadership team is because we don't know what children go through at home. However, if we catch them in the schools and we provide the wraparound services for these children, they can go on to be live their best life. And what the citywide leadership team is, it's the school leadership team on the citywide level. Okay, and the school leadership team, like Dr. Cody and my co-developer, Miss Monique, the school leadership team is the most important function, the most important organization in the school. It's the team. It's the village. I call the school leadership team is your school-based village. And because I have sat on school leadership teams, that's how I met Miss Lynette Townsley. We were all PTA presidents at our children's school, and we were members of the SLT. We was a member of the President's Council. We was a member of CPAC. We was a member of all the organizations that help provide supplemental resources for our schools. And we even started our own organization called Community Youth Care Services, Inc. Lynette and I are the founding members of that organization as well. And what this SLT does is it tells you.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, but if you can just let us know what SLT and all these things.
Okay, thank you.
Make sure
that's the school
really know
school leadership team. Okay, aka the school-based village. Like
Okay.
you hear the phrase that it takes a village to raise a child. In
Absolutely.
each and every school, we have that village, and it's called the school leadership team. And why that leadership team is so important is because you talk about comprehensive education plan and making sure you have the funding to execute the goals of that plan. And with the community, when they first came out with the school leadership team, which is New York State education law, it's the law. Okay, the purpose was to have the whole village involved because each school gets a budget, but not all the budget does not cover all the needs of the children. And that's why they always made sure that when they founded that community-based organizations were also on the team. And having a community-based organization on the team helps bring the wraparound services that the school may be lacking. And so, and it's also shared decision making. And why we are so passionate about the school leadership team is you just heard Miss Keontae, our youth. Okay. I served on school leadership teams, and on the high school level, I've watched the school be with the graduation rates mid 80s go all the way to over the 95 mark in terms of graduation rate because the principal listened to what the students asked for. We would go on walkthroughs with the classrooms and along with the teachers, the parents, the school administrators. We would look into the classrooms, see what was going on, and afterwards we would come back to the session, after the session, and go around the table. And the principal said to the team, the village, don't tell me what's wrong. He said, don't tell me what's right. I need to hear what we need to improve. And the students were the ones that gave the answer because it's their education. They are the ones that told us what they needed in their school, and the principal listened. And because he listened, that school went from mid 80s graduation rate all the way to over 95% graduation rate because we had the system of the whole team listening and weighing in and bringing their collective experience to the table and help move schools forward. Dr. Cody has stories, Ms. Townsley has stories. We all have stories about how these school leadership teams function. And
So
when they
just
function, I'm
another
sorry.
point, because we are speaking to an audience,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the people are just not familiar, and we want them to get familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the school leadership team, who is it? The students, the parents,
It's the
who is the school leadership team? And then is that does every school mandated to have a school leadership team?
Absolutely. Every school in New York City has a school leadership team. This is state law that came about in 1996, 1998, where it mandated that every school in New York City should have a school leadership team. Okay,
Okay. And the
every
members
school.
of the school leadership team, who are they? Just so
The
people.
members of the school leadership team is the principal,
Mhm.
the UFT chapter leader, and teachers. It's
Okay.
the PTA president and parent leaders. And
Oh,
on the high school level, it also includes the students on the high school level.
oh,
That's why on the citywide leadership team, we
mhm.
are asking for, with the legislation, we're asking for younger grades, okay? Because as you see with Miss Keontae, if you give students the platform to develop their voice at an earlier age, it helps them choose their careers because they're used to being, having practice speaking on behalf of themselves. I'm a human resource professional by trade. So it's very important to me that we teach our kids, prepare them through the New York City public school system, how to get prepared for their career. When you got to go for your high school interviews, you have to be able to articulate what you are about and what you bring for the table. And the whole, I just want to take this opportunity to also thank the city council. Okay, like Miss Lynette said, the city council put the October Youth Empowerment Month as a yearly event. Okay, and what that does, it aligns with the CLT. Okay, because if you're helping every child reach their full potential, they both work hand in hand. And we belong to other youth organizations as well. I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. We have youth auxiliaries as well. I am the charter and president of 2 units of New York State and National PTA. One is the Queens Community PTSA, and then we have the New York State Special Education Parent Teacher Student Association. Both of those include students, okay? And the reason why, it's their education. If we're going to help every child reach their full potential, which is the mission of PTA, we have to give them platforms to do that. So Youth Empowerment Month is not just a month. Youth Empowerment Month is every month. The October is the celebration of all that has been done throughout the whole year.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And I'm Terri Wisdom. This is Harlem Network News. And, I love doing these interviews because we always learn a lot. We're going to come back to you, Ms. Lorraine, so we can get an even clearer picture of the citywide leadership team, because that's important. But I want to move over to Niati's grandmother, who is on, and we're very grateful. You're doing a phenomenal job. But if you would just share a little bit about your role and how you've been able to guide Niati and her sister to become ambassadors. So thank you so much. If you would just identify yourself.
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Kim Mitchell. I'm Niati's grandma. I've been an educator for over 20 years, and I've known Lynette for probably half of those years early on in NAACP. But I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years now, and so it was important for me to teach my grandkids how to build wealth. Because this is something that I was not taught in school, and my son was not taught, but I'm circling back, making sure that my grandchildren know how to not just work for someone else, but also work for themselves. And so my company is called Career Access Incorporated, and we teach financial literacy, entrepreneurship, career readiness, and wellness. And our programs, we have programs in schools, and recently I released our first workbook, our Wealth Builder workbook. And so, she's going to be with me in this process. She's going to be the ambassador to help teach other young people about how to build wealth and how to become entrepreneurs.
Okay, I love it. I love it. This is very inspiring, and it's inspiring to see Niante at 9, getting this started, because that's really important. And I actually have an interview that is going to air on Sunday evening at 7:30. And it is an interview with our Chancellor, David Banks. And he speaks about a lot of things, that occurred, and educational things. So it's very interesting. I think you were saying that there's meetings that take place at Eagle Academy in Queens. And, I got a lot of background on Eagle Academy. Obviously, there's one in every borough. And one of the things is, we're having this discussion, you all are in Queens. And then obviously we've got all the other boroughs. And Niante is a shining star and a shining example of where people are at 9 and what is happening. But unfortunately, all of our districts aren't doing as well. So I think in terms of just speaking truth to power. And if we don't identify what some of the issues and concerns are, then we're not going to be able to address them and fix them. So I would leave that. We could come to you, Ms. Lynette. What are some of the issues and concerns that we're facing with our youth, particularly as they get older? You know what I'm saying? Because it's important to get that good foundation and keep that foundation going. But some of the young people haven't really had that opportunity to get that great foundation. So we have to meet them where they are. So what are some of the challenges that we're working, and how are you all working, as youth, youth champions? Miss Lynette, thank you.
Thank you so much. So as we know, 1 month, October Youth Empowerment Month, is not enough. That's why we are building with Cody Cares the 24-hour youth hub, a safe space of refuge, recreation, and transformation, accessible in every borough and online. It pairs every youth with a life advisor and a coalition of trusted organizations like the organizations here this evening. It teaches health as wealth, builds financial literacy, and creates a living blueprint for equity and legacy. The need is urgent. Rising mental health crisis, academic disengagement, and lack of safe spaces demand a citywide solution, and the hub is that solution.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate on that, Miss Lorraine, in terms of some of the issues and some of the concerns? Because
But
also in New York City, and I don't know how much of that is happening in Queens, but I very much know what's happening here in Central Harlem. And we have a lot of, quote, immigrant, migrant. We have students that are coming from other places that are going to school for the first time here. We have language differences. So we have a lot of things that we're dealing with, not only accommodating language, but also people getting acclimated to what the system is. And particularly in a district like Central Harlem that has a lot of concerns and has a lot of issues, because we have students coming from other places, it puts even more of a stress on a system that's already stressed. So
and
we have to make solutions.
and that's why the citywide leadership team is one of those solutions, because the bottom line is the school is going to be the place where you at least start, where you at least have an opportunity to make sure that the money is going to the right places. That's why we're trying to make sure that the citywide leadership team is the law. That's citywide, okay? Because when we go to Albany and we advocate, see, a lot of people don't really know that New York City is only one school district out of over 700 school districts in the state of New York. So when we go to advocate during because as you know, the legislative session is going to begin in January. They're going to be talking about the budget.
Yes,
Okay. So New York City, we tend to go up in silos. U of T will go up, uh, um, CSA will go up, the parents will go up. Different people are going up, and they're talking about the same population of students.
Okay.
Okay.
CSA is
Okay, that's the council for that's
Supervisor.
for the principals. The
okay.
CSA is the council for school supervisors,
Okay.
the council for school administrators. Okay, so the principals go up, the United Federation of Teachers go up, parents go up, everybody goes up with their own little talking points. But because I'm a member of um other organizations like the National PTA, Every year they have their own lobby days. And I go up to their lobby days and I can never talk about what New York City needs as one district. Okay. And that's why the citywide leadership team is so important, because in the eyes of the state, we are only one district. So the solution is bringing that one district together and putting there what we need as a New York City collective in one document so that we can give it to our city council members, we can give it to our state legislators and our federal legislators and let them know what we need, understanding that everybody is at that table. So it's not just this group over here, it's that group over there, it's this group over there. It's we know that all the key stakeholders have agreed to what is in this document. And it becomes very important in terms of the solutions that you said. Because if the solution is we need more funding to help with the translation services and the education services, that would have been talked about on the citywide level. Okay. That would go into the citywide comprehensive education document. It would all be there. So it would probably be about 4 or 5 key talking points that we all agree to as New York City one district, not the 30 some odd internal districts, but as one New York City district. And that is the part of the solution, because we will finally be making sure that the money is going where it's supposed to go. Because let's face it, in a lot of the communities of color, let's cut to the chase. The school leadership teams are not even functioning. The parent associations are not functioning. So how can we go to Albany and talk to the legislators when we don't know what our schools need on the ground? What are we doing? We're wasting money. And then I'm going to say this last thing. Title I is getting ready to go. You see, the federal government.
So once again, I'm going to stop you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to have you, because this may be the choir, but the audience is not. So when you say Title I, break that down, because we're doing Harlem Network News so that we can inform the people. Our mission is to inform, to engage, and call the people to action. So we're informing. So Title I is what, and what does Title I do?
Title I is the federal money to help with the underserved districts. Okay. And over the years, it was they would get the lunch forms to determine what schools need that Title I money. And a lot of times in our underserved communities, we don't have the Title I committees working, okay? And the meetings are not happening. And a lot of times that money is not going where it's supposed to go, because the conversations are not being had to make sure that we're asking for the right things. Okay, so that's what that Title I money is. And that's how we came together with the citywide leadership team. Because during COVID, remember, the schools got extra money during the COVID. Remember, we got more money from the federal government. And how we came together with the citywide leadership team, we was concerned about what would happen once that federal money is now gone. So we wanted to come together to make sure the SLTs were functioning, the school leadership teams are functioning, so that we can make sure that the money matters. Okay. And making sure the money matters and going to where it's supposed to go at the right times, because the citywide leadership team is not a top-down approach. It's a bottom-up. We're hearing from the schools on the ground. Okay, we're asking them what we need. Some districts, they don't need any help. They got the system down and they got it going on. But for those districts and those schools that need help, the citywide leadership team, along with the district leadership team, will come together and talk about how we support the schools on the ground. And that is the solution to conquering the educational achievement gap.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm going to come back over to Niate's grandmother, but I want to just ask, with the Citywide leadership team, this started how many years ago?
Approximately 5 years ago,
Okay,
because
so
it happened during COVID. That's how
okay,
Monique and I knew each other, and I met Dr. Cody around that time because we had virtual meetings,
okay,
and that's how we connected. And the
so,
rest is pretty much
so
history.
is the Citywide leadership team like doing, like, I would say, investigative work, like going to each district, going to visits to each schools to really see what is actually happening? Because I know that you know, New York City school system obviously has the largest school district in the country.
Country. Mhm.
I believe that we have the largest budgets for our students in the country.
Mhm.
So, you know, the thinking is, though it's large and it's diverse, we have money. So the question is, what is happening? And is there equity in terms of what is happening in our, and anyone can answer this question, but is there equity in terms of what is happening in our districts? Are there some disparities that are going on in the districts that are heavily black and brown?
And that's why
So,
that's why the citywide leadership team is so important, because you would have representation from all the districts in the city of New York, because there's an infrastructure with the with the parent teacher student associations, or the PAs or PTAs. There's the district leader, there's the president's councils, there's the different councils. The infrastructure is already in place.
okay.
Our task is trying to make sure that with the citywide level, we are putting in accountability measures and the pieces that are missing to help make sure that the communication is flowing properly at the right periods of time. Because a lot of people don't realize that the budget begins for the state begins January and it ends in April. But if you're not communicating with your city council members and your legislators during that critical time period, you're not going to probably get all your students need. So it is very important that that communication is improved and tightened up.
Okay,
And
that communication is coming from the leadership teams within each school, and then
exactly.
the citywide leadership team, and then you're talking to the city councils and state senators and assembly people.
Yes,
That way.
yes, because, okay, see, and why it's so critical that the leadership teams are functioning, because they're the ones, every school has a city council member, every school has a state legislator, everything is there. Okay, but if the school is not functioning and they're not talking to their city council members at this time, because they really should be talking to them right now, okay, they get monies, discretionary funds. But if they're not here, and we can't expect our city council member to go to all the schools that they have to go to. We need our representatives from each building to go and talk to the city council members and explain
And
to them what is needed.
the representatives, and you know, this is a question because this is
Yes.
educational process. The
Mm.
representatives from the school that would go to the city council, who would that representative be?
That representative would be the parent association president and the executive board and other parents, okay, and the parents from the school leadership team. Because what we're trying to make sure that people understand is that we are all accountable. Okay, we are all accountable. The teachers can go and speak to the city council members, but the whole thing is we have to all be on one accord of what we're asking for every year. Because as students grow and develop, the needs are going to change. Okay, right now we're going into AI and all these other things that's going to impact the world of work. But if we're not talking to each other, we're not going to have the right resources in our buildings to prepare our children to compete in the global economy that we're in. We're competing with people across the world. And so that's why it's more important now more than ever. It's always been important, but now more than ever, as technology has speed up the pace of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for this. I'm
Can
Terri.
I add? Oh.
This is Harlem Network News, and we're gonna have you, Lynette. What did you want to share?
Oh, I just
And I'm
wanted
gonna
to just mention how important the school leadership team and the citywide leadership team is, because to me, they're like the board of directors of each individual school. And that's the reason why it's important to partner with community-based organizations like the community boards and community nonprofits and for-profit organizations in the community, and have them a part of the SOTs, so that when you look at with the SOTs, they create like a business plan,
and
and
the
it's called
SOTs are
school leadership team,
okay.
and
Okay,
they create
hammer that
a,
in so everybody knows. Okay.
yes, a comprehensive educational plan, which is like their business plan, and that's called the CEP.
Okay.
When you look at districts, when we were PTAs and we had to do those, I always looked at districts that were doing really well. And
Okay.
when you saw their budgets and their partnerships, it was just not the money coming from the Department of Education. It was that additional funds from community-based organizations. The PTAs have unlimited fundraising opportunities.
Okay.
In addition to, we have the DYCD, Department of Youth and Community Development. They
Okay.
are the youth bureau for New York City. So
Okay.
when we pay our tax dollars and our elected officials give the budget, it goes through DYCD, the Department of Youth and Community, and it's the community and the school's responsibility to write for those grants to pull the money through. Often, what happens is community-based organizations that are not familiar with our community write for that money, but the money does not come to our community.
Okay.
And this is
Okay.
where
So
I
we
think
have
the schools need some
we
help
have
and support.
a huge task. And I sit in a seat in Central Harlem. So our story is, I don't know if our story is your story, but I know our story. So I'm going to go to, and I don't want to call you Nianti's grandma, but Nianti's grandma, just share with everyone your name again.
Kim Mitchell.
Okay, Kim Mitchell. Okay, having worked in the system, and I know that you're in Queens and Lynette is in Queens. Lorraine, where are you based?
But I went to
I'm
school
in
in
Queens.
Brooklyn.
I'm in Queens as well, but I went to
Okay.
school in the Bronx.
Okay, okay. So if you would just share a little bit from having been an educator and also an entrepreneur, what your thoughts are in terms of how things are going in Queens. How, in terms of, a lot of the schools, how are things going? What are you seeing? Are you seeing a lot of parent involvement? Are you all getting organized and getting the funds that are needed? Do all the children in most of the schools have computers that they can take home? What's happening?
I honestly, I just think everybody's doing their best. I mean,
But let's have real talk.
yeah,
Everybody is doing their best,
Yeah.
but we need to know
yeah,
even those that are not doing are doing their best with whatever
Right.
you're working with.
But I think I
Even
don't want to get
reality.
stuck on the negative narrative,
But
I
it's
don't
not
want
stuck, not stuck. But it's important that we address what's really happening, because if we don't address it, we can't fix it. So we're going to say what's good, and then we're going to say what needs improvement.
right. Yeah, well, I mean, there's always room for improvement. I mean, coming off of the pandemic, we are seeing a different kind of need, I feel like, in our schools. Kids are, I guess, I don't know, I guess the system is just recalibrating, I feel like it's just, you know, we're trying to get back to some sort of norm, some sort of uh uh I don't know, just some sort of normalcy so that we can now just move forward again. Because I think before the pandemic, we had an idea of what needed to be done. When the pandemic happened, it all stopped. Like it was just like
At the pivot.
yeah, it was a mess, right? And so now we're just, I think the system is getting back on track. However, I do feel, you know, we're struggling with some of the same issues. We don't have enough funding for programs that would help to improve the, you know, the students, you know, the performance in the schools or even meet some of the needs. And so recently I went to a meeting at my grandchildren's school, and there's a new superintendent. So we have a new superintendent, you know, we have a new chancellor. So with all of that, now we're going to have a new mayor. So every time we just get ready to, you know, figure stuff out and get moving, now we have a huge, you know, shift and a huge change. So it's all of that, you know, and that's why I say, listen, we're doing our best, you know, with all the change that constantly is happening, we're doing our best. But you know, so we have a new superintendent in our district. And what I know from being in the school system, I was a school leader. We have to learn, we have to do a better job of bringing the money down from the federal, from the state to the schools. And I don't see enough of that work being done in the school districts. I don't see enough of the grant writing. You know, for my district in particular, there is no grant writing office or department. And every school district should, every community, you know, district should have a grant writing office, because that's the only way you're going to bring the money down. And so, you know, that's something that I shared with them, and that, you know, that's going to be very important in order to.
I mean, grant writing, you know, I've written grants, and, you know, I'm not a professional grant writer, but grant writing can be a very difficult thing, because if you don't, you know, dot the I's and cross the T's and, you know, send it this way or send it that way. So if schools are like getting funding based on grant writing, how is the grant writing put in place? Who is expected to write these grants?
Well,
so Terri,
when I was in the school system, when I was at a school principal, I wrote my own grants.
Okay.
But I did that. I wrote the grants, and I was able to get funding. However, I ran into some issues where, you know, if I needed a signature from a district, you know, there was no real person to go to.
Okay.
And that's where the challenge is. Like, you do have school leaders who are willing to write these grants, but then who's the person? There's no office. There's no
to help you
at the district to say, hey, this is where you go to get this signature so that you can, you know, have this funding. And so that's one of the things I feel needs to change, you know, with the new mayor coming. Hopefully this is something he can establish in every district in New York City school system. There needs to be a grant writer department or grant writer lead person, so that even if the schools want to write the grants, if the parents want to write the grants, there's an easy sign off to say, hey.
Okay. And then also, you know, I mean, just in terms of balance, because a lot of principals are very overwhelmed with running their school. Parents are overwhelmed with bringing their children to school, working, or whatever the survival task is. So in my mind, you know, this is an education, but, you know, for monies to come into schools, additional money to come into schools that really need it, that's a concern. So I'm going to go to you, Lynette, and then we're going to have some closing statements, because we've talked about a lot of things, and I want everybody to be able to really take it in. So
can I say one last word after Lynette?
Of course. So absolutely. Everybody's going to have their closing statement. And that's what Network News is about. So go right ahead, Lynette. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm glad that Kim brought that up because a year ago, I was helping District 29 to write for My Brothers, My Sisters Keeper program.
Okay.
And we were writing, but I didn't know some of the nuances when it came to the budgeting for the Department of Education. So we kept going to the state saying, oh, what is this? What is that? And they came to us and said, why are you not working with the budget officer, the grant writing officer? We were like, what grant writing officer? So there are in the Department of Education district grant offices. They are not helping the schools in our community. And that is one of the problems. You know, we got to start really saying, and I was like shocked. And I was working with the superintendent's office on this, and they didn't really understand that there was somebody that they can go to that was supposed to be servicing them, but wasn't.
Okay. So we have a lot.
Well,
But go right ahead, Lorraine, because you're
at all roads lead back to the school leadership team and the citywide leadership team and the district leadership team. And I'm going to mention about the grants. As a matter of fact, that's exactly why I'm so passionate about the citywide leadership team and strengthen the school leadership teams. We had community-based organizations, well-meaning citizens within our local community. I have the people that I could point you to that wrote grants for our schools. Okay, but what happened is because the conversation was not had with the school, when they said, hey, we got this grant from you, the principal said, oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I needed. So that grant money had to go back. Okay, so that's why the communication, you could write grants, but you have to make sure that it's a grant because when you write a grant, the grantor wants to know, make sure that the money is doing what it was intended to do. But if those conversations are not had, what are we writing for?
okay. So from
Thank you.
your citywide leadership, because we're going to wind down, I don't want to overload everybody. This is a big
Mhm,
conversation,
mhm.
and this is an important conversation. And you know, I am formally on the community board. I wasn't on Community Board 10 right here in Central Harlem. I was not on the education committee, but I also, you know, do different work in our schools that are right here in Central Harlem. So I've had the opportunity to see a lot, but this truly has been an eye opener, you know, just in terms of what we're dealing with, where the money comes from, what is happening. And you know, in a lot of in our district, in a lot of the schools, you know, we have a complicity of problems. We have problems in a sense that parents love their children. They get their children together every day and they get them there on time. They're clean. They're ready, you know, ready to learn. But a lot of the parents are, you know, are stressed. They're overwhelmed. They're going to work. They may have more than one child. So there's a lot to deal with. And then there's an education process because we can consider ourselves educated, but there's things that we don't know, like some of the things that we've just discussed here. So, and now it's like crunch time because the budgets are opening and the needs are there. So we need to make sure, and this is why this show is extremely, extremely important. And we're live now, but I'm going to make sure that I push it out and that people can hear this and then be called to action because a lot of people really don't know exactly what's happening and what the step 1, 2, and 3, and 4. We just know that in some of our schools, we don't see all these services. We don't see the computers. We're seeing it in other places, but that's because those other places are able to write those grants, you know, and so this is what we've got to tackle. So from the perspective that and the seats that you all are sitting in, I'm gonna just have you say, Lynette, in terms of what you're working with. What are the marching orders that you think we need to deal with right now? And then I'm going to go back to you, Kim, who has been a principal, and then I'm going to let you, Lorraine, be the closer for the citywide leadership. Very important. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to say to Mayor Adams on his way out, leave a legacy of investment in our youth infrastructure, fund the hubs, expand mentorship, institutionalize empowerment. And to the Mayor-elect Mandani, our expectations are bold. Crown youth as civic architects, embedded in equity into every policy, and scale empowerment from boroughs to blueprints. Youth are not a sidebar, they are the headlines. And, that's why we're building the 24-hour youth hub so that they can have a safe space. And, our marching orders is we have to be civically engaged. Right now, they have the um citywide funding going on with the Civic Engagement Commission, where they're giving money
Okay.
in each boroughs. And then they're also having a participatory budget, which we're going to be voting for. And that's how you can also bring money when you say for the computers, laptops, and stuff like that. That's how we won money to get those carts for the schools. So, and let's partner together. This is our time to work together. We can't no longer work in silos. Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you. And Kim, what would you like to weigh in? What's your closing statement? Thank you.
I just, I will add on to what Lynette has said, in that with Mayor Adams, I actually want to thank him for some of the things that he was able to do this year for entrepreneurs, MWBE business owners. He really brought us to the table. He really made sure that we had opportunities in all the agencies in the city. And as a business owner, I was able to take advantage of some of those things. But in terms of the school system with the youth, he also created a program called Project Pivot, which really focuses on the youth who are, who are at risk, who struggle and may, have some violent tendencies. He really put some funding into the schools for those programs. And I love the work that he was doing with the homeless people. So I really want to thank him. And I just hope that the new mayor will come in and continue some of those things, but also, fill in some of the gaps, where we're seeing in the schools. We definitely need funding, of course, but also we want to, I think with some of the reconstruction of the school over the past administrations, we lost a lot in our schools. And so when we look at arts programs, we look at music programs, accelerated programs, we look at technology and CTE and things like that. A lot of communities lost these programs because large schools were broken down into small schools, and so funding just got shifted in a weird way. And so I'm hoping that the new mayor can come in and reestablish some of the programs and resources that we lost in our communities.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And now, Ms. Lorraine, you're the closer with the citywide leadership team. And what would you like to leave us with? What are the marching orders that you're giving us? Thank you.
Well, I too would like to thank Mayor Adams as well, because he brought in the HBCU high school. That is a road map. That's something that has never been had in New York, across the country. Okay. So he brought that, and then he brought other schools that are in the areas that really need the help. So I would like to thank Mayor Adams, his team, for bringing those key schools that's going to help change students' lives, because our students will be able to get a 4-year degree in 2 years. Okay. And so that is very key, that I would like to thank Mayor Adams for, and the team. But moving forward, all roads lead back to the school leadership teams and the citywide leadership team. Because the bottom line is all the money in the world is not going to help if we're not making sure that the money is going where it needs to go. And
Okay.
that's what the school leadership team does. And we have to make sure that in every school, our 1,800 schools that we have to make sure that every team is functioning and that the money matters and that it is closing the educational achievement gap. And let me tell you something, we can do it. We already have the infrastructure in place. All we have to do is strengthen it and take it to the next level. We already there. We already have the best infrastructure in place. And now we also have a special education unit of the National PTA. So we're going to make sure the students that have special needs and disabilities, that when they graduate from our public high schools, that they have a career plan. We are going to change have a real career pipeline. And Mayor Adams also put things in place for that as well. So I hope that the next mayor hears our voices and don't throw away the baby with the bathwater, because the Adams administration did do some great work. It is there. Let's take it to the next level and make sure that every child that graduates from a New York City public school is college and career ready. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. And it's very interesting. I'm Terri Wisdom. This is Harlem Network News. And this has really been a very great session. We did have our youth. Thank you so much, Nianti, for coming back. And she was our representative, our strong, our base, our 9-year-old representative, looking so beautiful and so confident. And we were hoping to have more youth on of a different age range. But I think as we're speaking about youth, this discussion was where it needed to be. Mm-hmm. And so that's very important. We're going to bring the youth on, and it'll be another session so that they can really talk and tell their stories in terms of what is going on, what they're dealing with. We have, as you said, there's been many transitions, bell to bell, no schools in the phone now, no phones in the school. That's something the Black Studies curriculum, which is not one that is mandated, but it is available. So there are a lot of different things that have happened, and I'm in agreement with you under Mayor Adams, and we have to make sure that some of the things that have been put in place that have worked, that they don't get thrown out, the baby doesn't get thrown out with the bathwater, and that there's a continuum. Because as you said, when we're getting all new things and all new people, we don't need to start all over again. We need to build on what has been had. So just question, will the citywide leadership team continue under the new administration? Is it secured, or is that something that could be transitional?
The citywide leadership team is here to stay.
Okay.
All we're doing is making sure that the law is there, because just like the school leadership team is New York State education law, the district leadership team is New York State education law, the citywide leadership team will become New York State education law as well. So we're not going away. That's here for just as long as the school leadership team is there. There will be a citywide leadership team.
That's a great thing. Okay. And if people want more, of course, you can reach out to Harlem Network News. You can reach us at harlemnetworknews@gmail.com, harlemnetworknews.org. You can also call us directly at 646-261-5397. We encourage everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We encourage you. We had a big campaign for Giving Tuesday. So you can Zelle us, you can Cash App us. We need that support. We need that funding. We're doing a lot of things. We've been doing some co-hosting with WBAI, a series on gun violence. where we have stopping the violence. We've had on all of our district attorneys. We're waiting for the district attorney from Queens to come. But we've had Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. We've had Brooklyn Eric Gonzalez. We had Bronx Darcel Clark. So we're going to next have the Queens. We've had Harlem Mothers and Fathers Sing, president of Howard University Hospital, to talk about how they're addressing things. So you should say cool street corner resources. You know, we have gone the gamut to really work on addressing this problem. So we're doing a lot of work, and we are very, very grateful to what's happening. I think we have one more guest that may have just come in, but this has been an important session. And like I said, even as a former community board member right here in Central Harlem, I learned a lot. How can folks get in touch to get involved with the citywide leadership team? And I believe Melanie Medina has just joined us. Melanie, if you can come on camera.
Hi. Oh,
we can't see you. We
yeah.
can see, that would be great. But how can, in the meantime, while we're waiting, oh, hello, Melanie.
Hi.
Okay. So if you could just tell us how they can find out more, get in touch with the city leadership team or their parents association.
I believe Dr. Cody is on. We have an email that people could send. Dr. Cody, could you just give the email?
Yeah, I don't think Dr. Cody's not on right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if anything,
I'll get the team. I'll get the email.
Okay.
And I'll,
And they can
after Miss Medina goes, I'll give the email.
Okay. Okay. So we'll just say a few words. Ms. Melanie Medina, what's your connection? We talked about the citywide leadership team, youth ambassadors. What is your role in all of this? Thank you.
I assume because it's been a while, a student ambassador.
Okay.
I was participating and being there, and normally I would recommend more students to join because I I really think that students should have a voice in in council meetings.
Okay. And just a few, because we're winding down. We've talked about a lot of things, but are you a student now, or are you a former student?
I'm a student right now. I'm a high school student at the moment.
Okay, great. So, and where are you based?
Cyber Arts Studio Academy.
What borough?
Brooklyn.
Okay, so you're based in Brooklyn. And what are some of the issues and concerns of the students that you're hearing? Some of the concerns that the students have.
Normally, it's not that concerns. It's more like it's more activities that they need. That many students are not really liking what some classes are, or like the activities that they have, or sometimes the activities are after school that they can't do it because it's after school, and normally it's just difficult for students to find something to get their hands on because now that the cell phone regulations is on, so they can't really find something to be able to distract or like have fun with.
Okay. Okay. And how are things going in the schools that you're in? I mean, are people is there discipline problems, or is everybody ready, willing, and able to learn? Does everybody have computers? What are some of the things that are happening?
Right now in my school, from what I can see, is that yes, there is activities and all that. It's just that the storage of the short age of computers at my school, that
Okay.
and mm, that there's not like much that we can do about it because not every student obviously follows the code of taking care of a computer. It's not really on the teachers, it's more on the students. It's not yes, there's a disciplinary code and everything. It's just that they don't follow it sometimes.
Okay, and how are they adjusting to no phones? And then we're gonna, I think Dr. Jackie's back, so we'll have her say a few closing words. But how are they adjusting to the no phones?
I
I
mean, more people are interacting, unlike last year that many people were more on their phones, more focused on them. Yes, I see some people willingly wanting to be on their phones most of the time because then they're not talkative. I would understand that situation because I was in that too. So, I mean, many students have, instead of just shutting people out or like being isolated, they started talking more, and there's more friend groups to have around.
Okay, okay, so that's interesting. That's great. Dr. Jackie Cody, are you back with us? We need to see you.
Yes, I don't know how much you can
Okay.
see. I'm
Okay,
out here.
so we're
Hi,
winding down.
everyone.
If you want to just give a final closing statement, and
Just,
also if you could give the email because folks wanted to be able to get in touch with the Citywide leadership team. And just
oh, sure.
introduce yourself again, Dr. Jackie Cody. Thank you.
Oh, sure. And also Cody Cares. Thank you so much, Melanie, for hopping on. I know it was last minute. Appreciate you. I'll be following up with you soon. And I'm sorry, Inyati. Oh, delicious, delicious. And big special thanks to the the lead organizer for the October Youth Empowerment and so many other things. Lynette Townsley, I love you so much. Thank you very much. And you know, all my love is to my co-developer, New York City Citywide leadership team, co-developer Lorraine Gittens Bridges. I'm pretty sure she informed everybody on
Yeah,
the
we got a lot.
importance of, I'm sorry, on the importance of why we need to come together and stakeholders be represented at the table because we are all accountable.
Mhm.
And I'm saving the best for last. Thank
Okay.
you for giving us our platform, Terri Wisdom, Harlem Network News. The media is so important in getting this information out there. And I need you to continue hanging on, sister, and making sure this information gets out there. You're on the right track. And we
Absolutely.
love you
Oh,
and
thank
we thank you. And my name is Dr. Jackie Cody. You can catch me at codycares.org, or you can email the New York City Citywide Leadership Team at nyc.clt1, the number one, at gmail.com. That's nyc.clt1 at gmail.com. We're signing off. Thank you all. Youth Speaks. We have to step up for our youth because you'd be surprised the information and the recommendations that they have for their own education and their own community. So we need to hear them and support them. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. And it's been a great night here at Harlem Network News. Thank you, everybody. We learned a lot and we've got some calls to action. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
Melanie.
night.
Welcome.
Thank you, Leonti. Okay, and thank you, family. It takes a village. Thank you. This is Harlem Network News. Take you. And don't forget, Sunday evening, we have our Chancellor Banks that's going to come on. And that's going to be very significant because he talks about foundations that were laid and directions and his next direction. So thank you. Sunday evening, 7:30, Harlem Network News.